get into it, technology in these 2 rooms, is there anything else you want to throw at us before we get invested in this? Because I don't think I can handle any more technological issues. Technical errors. I don't know. It's a public holiday and I have not been sober for most of the day. Anyway, we've babbled for like 9 minutes now. But it doesn't look like we're going to have any more technical difficulties, so that's good. Should we maybe start this? I don't want to do my case.
I don't want to listen to your case.
It's better than last week, I can tell you that. It is much better than last week.
Are you sure?
I am certain.
As if it's not, I'm going to be vastly disappointed with you.
Isn't that just your default setting anyway? I'm not going to lie, looking at just this jellyfish hat instead of your face is a vast improvement to these weekly phone calls. You are listening to Rent Free in My Head, the podcast where we take the thoughts squatting in our heads to set them up with residence in yours, free of charge. Each week, Kirstyn is a little shit and tries to make me laugh in the middle of my intro, but then she also tells me a true crime tale.
Okay, well, you know what? Jeramie does the same thing to me in my outro, so... And then he also just depresses me for the next 4 weeks about some mystery that's all, like, intertwined, but, like, different. And it's full of yucky things.
Half the time you don't even remember to do your outro.
Very true. That's why you bullied me for it.
Precisely.
Okay, but what I noticed while you were doing your intro is if I tilt my head just so, my eyes are covered.
Oh, I saw.
And I'm just really happy that I found my jellyfish hat.
I'm not.
Gonna wear it all the time. Alright, but, so, I decided not to do a murder.
Ooh.
I know. Bit off
Something
brand
different
for me.
Branching out.
Look at me go.
It's probably still going to be an Australian woman, though.
It is Australian, but it's a dude.
Good.
And also, technically, if you want to get technical about it, he was not Australian born, so... But it does happen in Australia.
Okay.
But anyway, he also has, like, a really interesting name, and I'm gonna fuck it up.
That's
So
standard
sorry
for
in
you.
advance. His name is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, because I tried Googling how to pronounce it, and it didn't help me.
Also standard for you.
Haki? Or Haki? It's Haki. It's Turkish.
Oh.
So I go like, Haki? Haki?
I'd say hockey.
Yeah, Haki. It also had Tim, so I'm assuming he just, like, adopted a little white name so that people would stop pronouncing his name incorrectly. Which, like, fair. I feel like I would also do that if I was not a white person.
It could also just be his coffee name. Like,
oh my god, true.
I don't know about you, but
do.
I am so sick of ordering coffee and my name coming back spelled wrong. So I have a coffee name.
Oh, so. But if my coffee name gets spelled incorrectly.
Mine can't possibly get spelled wrong because I don't think it's possible to spell Max wrong. If I'm feeling real fancy, then it's Maxwell.
Macs?
No.
Mine is Beck.
Oh yeah, that could easily come back wrong. Yeah, there's so many different ways.
It's also a lot easier to hear than Kirstyn, because the amount of times where I've said Kirstyn and they're like, Christian?
Anyway, Beck, tell Max a story.
So his name is Haki Tim Bahadia Adahan. 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 I like Adahan better. I'm going to say Adahan.
Let's say Tim.
Why?
Well, if that's the name that he's adopted. And it's the name that you can say.
Fine. Lame. Tim was Turkish born and made his way to Australia. In 1970, he went to the western suburbs of Sydney, New South Wales, where he opened a takeaway shop. Okay, now when I say takeaway shop, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, what do you think I'm talking about?
Kebabs.
Yeah, like food, right? The article I took this out of had
was I not supposed to pick like a specific food?
No,
was it
like,
bad that I specifically went
not.
straight to
I also
kebabs?
thought
Because
kebabs.
all I'm thinking about right now is Turkish delight.
I'm thinking about HSPs. So yeah, but like the article I read it in, it was like a takeaway food shop, and I was like, what other kind of fucking takeaway shop is there? Other than
Well,
food?
I mean, technically every shop is takeaway. If you pay for the goods and then you
but
take
when
them
you're like,
away.
I'm going down to the takeaway shop, you're obviously talking about the fucking food shop.
I've never once referred to going to the takeaway shop.
Do you want to get takeaway?
Yeah, you okay, yes, get takeaway is one thing, but referring to the place as a takeaway shop
but like
because you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the kebab joint, or
okay, no, but like
let's go to the pizza palace.
No, but like if you're like I have a local fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
And it has a name. I'm not going to say it because then I feel like it's like low-key really easy to find out where I live. And I don't want you to edit that out again.
Would it be the first time you've triangulated yourself? Like, very specifically?
But we would either say we're going to Kirstyn's. Say that's a takeaway shop name. Or we'd say we're going to the takeaway shop.
Fair.
You know? Anyway.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters.
No, I normally specify, like,
which one?
Going to burgers or...
So he opened a takeaway shop on Parramatta Road in urban Sydney, which is actually like just like a little bit away. He married and seemed to have like a pretty good life after immigrating to Australia. Like Bestie had a shop, you know, he had a wife, Soup's cute. Super awkwardly, he had a really bad gambling problem though.
Oh.
Which, like, spoiler alert, but not that spoilery because this is pretty inevitable. That ruined his business and his marriage. So, after the breakdown of both of those, he became...
Love a good breakdown.
He became a cab driver. Such a random segue.
All I'm thinking about right now is Bob's Burgers and that episode in season 1 where he, on top of running the restaurant, starts driving a cab.
Oh, wow, no. He lost his food business.
Yeah.
And that's why he started driving a cab. But also, like...
All roads lead back to Bob's Burgers in my brain, apparently.
I feel like it's kind of stereotypical that if you have a gambling addiction, and this is a very generalized statement, and I low-key apologize if this offends anyone, but I feel like people that have gambling addictions or, like, bad with money are also the kind of people that really like money and, like, the high life. And have, like, expensive taste. And I'm like, I know me. I'm poor as shit, but I like expensive stuff.
I'm not a super materialistic person. I have a lot of things, but most of them are sentimental.
Oh, yeah, no,
things.
same. I just mean, like...
But Mateo does like to tell me all the time that I have expensive taste just because I like duck and, like, salmon. Which I'm like, okay, but
Salmon's
I'm not going to
bougie.
go and have that every friggin' day. But if I see it on the menu,
I feel like you're, like...
I'm going to go for it.
You're, like, bougie with common sense.
Yes.
This fucker was not.
But I also actively avoid gambling as a whole simply because I know
It can be very addictive.
that there is... We all know that I have an addictive personality and I tend to get very hyperfixated on things, so wouldn't be surprised if I were to sit down one day and go, oh, this looks like fun. Oh, I got a win. There's my serotonin fix. Let's keep pushing this button and see what happens.
I feel like it's very easy.
So I
to
just
become
don't
gambling
even
addict.
risk it.
But, like, obviously, for this guy, being a cab driver, not a big money bringer. Maker. Being a cab driver doesn't really afford you a lot of
Maker?
money.
Hardly know her.
Oh my god. So, he was poor. Oh my god, why is my brain just not fucking... Oh my god. Okay. Being a cab driver.
Maybe it's the hat. Has the hat made you dumber?
I love my hat.
It makes you look dumber.
But I love her. So I will continue wearing her. Okay, so... cabbies obviously do not make enough money. Well, they make money, but they don't make a lot. So he was not making the kind of money that he needed to live the life that he wanted. So he did what everyone does.
Robbed a bank.
Catching!
We've all been there. Everyone does it.
Honestly, some days.
You never forget your first bank robbery. Believe me.
Haven't tried it. Okay. So, by this point, he's been living in Australia for, over 10 years, right? So, between March 1983 and January 1984, Tim had committed an estimated 17 to 20 bank robberies. And oh, my bad, they were bank heists because he was armed. So it's a robbery if they're not armed, but it's called a heist if they are armed.
So that's what the difference was. I just thought that a heist was bigger stakes.
So did I, but I googled it because I was like, what the fuck is the difference? And it was like, a heist is generally when the person is armed. So Bestie had a gun and was going in and being like, give me your money!
How do they get away with a robbery if they ain't armed?
If it's like a fake gun?
Like, if they don't have arms, how are they going to carry the cash?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I couldn't not. But no, real talk though. I honestly thought that a heist was just like higher stakes operation, more people involved.
It involved a lot of thinking and planning and like the Italian job. That's a heist.
Oceans 11, 12,
13,
is there
8.
7 of them? I don't know. The Oceans. But I'm also thinking to GTA, you do the heist. There's a mission in one of the Witcher 3's DLCs where you... Yes, but in The Witcher 3 there's also a heist, but in all of those situations it's a big high stakes plan with all of these moving parts.
I'm with you. I thought the same thing. I thought it was so weird. I was like, because one referred to it as a heist, and I was like, does it really fucking matter if I say heist or...
Yeah, because I'm also thinking
robbery?
to iZombie, where they have the big break into the CDC, and they keep referring to that as a heist, but none of them are armed.
I don't know.
Sure. Well,
if you Google
I suppose
heist,
the being zombies part
is
technically kind of makes them armed.
Yeah, if you say heist, it says to commit armed robbery. So, I don't know, bro.
Heist definition. See, no, if I look up heist definition, it just says a robbery or to steal.
Oh, okay.
And that's from the Oxford Dictionary.
Dude, yeah, if I say define heist, it comes up with that. But if I just write the word heist and Google it, it comes up as to commit an armed robbery. Weird. Anyway.
And then if I go to the Cambridge Dictionary, a heist is a crime in which valuable things are taken illegally and often violently from a place or person. For example, a $2 million jewelry heist.
Oh, okay, so this one says, if I go heist versus robbery, it says a heist is an organised robbery, usually from some kind of institution. They're generally planned ahead of time, blah, 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 and robbery is
so
a
what we
general
thought
term,
it meant.
Whereas heist is a special kind.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh my
so
God, I'm so confused.
what we thought was correct then. So the Oceans and the Italian Job and...
heists.
Yes, they're heists, but just one dude walking in with a gun, armed or not, is a robbery because he's just going...
Okay.
Bang, bang, gimme money.
He didn't shoot anyone.
Doesn't mean he can't walk in and say, bang, bang, give me money.
Either way, over that year or so that he did it, he accumulated about $175,000. I know, right?
For how many robberies?
17 to 20.
And he only got 175,000.
100,000.
175,000? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 175000.
Yeah, 175,000. That's all he got for 17 to 20 heists.
Damn, Jeramie.
That's averaging like $1,700 or averaging like $10,000 a heist. Pick better bags. Take more money.
Okay, so anyway, apparently he fucking stole enough because he was able to, I don't know if he was renting it or not, but he was living in like this swish was the adjective that was used.
Swish.
A swish apartment with harbour views in Manly. I just thought it was funny how they described it. He went on a bunch of overseas trips. He had expensive cars, jewelry, and like obviously he continued gambling because like it wasn't his money. So
What year? This was the 70s, did you say?
yes.
Okay, that might be what the issue is because $175,000 does not get you that far.
Inflation thing. I forgot about the inflation thing.
Inflation.
Well, you wouldn't get far now.
No, that's what I'm saying. $532,807.52.
So like half a
so
million
over
dollars.
$500,000,
Right.
yes. Now
That
I'm
makes sense.
understanding it. Alright, you've done okay, my dude. Go off.
So, also a bit of a fun fact. Apparently one of his neighbours at that swish apartment was Olivia Newton-John's dad.
Oh!
Which, like, okay, a bit random. I don't know why that needed to be mentioned, but it was. So I was like, alright, we'll throw it in. So, you know, he was, like, living the high life, all fun, no work, except for occasionally robbing a bank. Until he got, like, a little too ambitious, which is kind of funny considering he had no ambitions other than stealing, gambling, and spending money. And decided to rob 3 banks in one day. Can't say I agree with that choice, but you do you. Which he had possibly done in the past. One article did say that, but I honestly just fucking doubt it because he failed so miserably this time.
Was he friends with the dude from last week?
Possibly. They're both pretty stupid.
Right. I don't even think if they got together as a team that they would even be able to pull it off.
I don't. They're really, really dumb. So, January 31st, 1984, he began the day by successfully robbing 2 banks in Macquarie Place. And he got about $17,000. Obviously, by this time, the police were aware that some fucker was going around robbing banks.
Kind of not something you can miss.
Also, they're probably sick of this, some random fucker constantly stealing money from banks over the last year. So they were, like, hot as shit on his tail. So then, good old Tim stormed into a Commonwealth Bank. Fun fact, I'm with Commonwealth Bank. Great bank. Love them.
Can't relate.
They're a great bank, Jeramie.
That's something that you and I do not have in common, wealth.
Oh my god. That was
We
bad.
also don't have wealth, so that is something we have in common.
Double whammy there. So he popped into Combank, the branch on George Street, which is just across the little watery section near the Sydney Opera House. I looked at a map.
The little watery section, do you mean the harbour?
Yes. Either way, I've quite possibly been to this bank because I am with Combank and I've been to Sydney. Though I'm just saying the next time I'm in Sydney, I'm definitely going to go to this bank so then I can send you a photo and be like, look, this is where Tim
Robbing a
robbed."
bank. Oh, so you're not going to do the robbing?
No, I'm just going to take a photo in there and be like, Tim robbed this bank and send you a selfie.
Cute.
Great. Anyway, so
Do it for the gram.
literally, it was 3:15 p.m. and branch manager Graham Stewart had heard a commotion. He looks about. and he sees some fucker with a gun. And so he obviously sounds the alarm! Except it was a silent alarm because I'm pretty sure Tim did not know.
Sound the alarm.
Yeah, like that. Sound the alarm. But it's funny too, because like Bestie Graham had done that before Tim even got the words out. Like Tim fired a shot after Graham had already like sounded the alarm. So then Tim fires a shot and he goes, "Give me all the 50s." That's just how I imagine he did it.
Give me the yellow ones.
Kind of like gold. I wouldn't say yellow.
What?
They're more gold than yellow.
They're yellowy orange. The red ones are 20s.
And the pink ones are 5s, and the blue ones are 10s. I'm so glad we're educating people on our money system. Okay. So he was like, "Give me all the 50s." By the time Tim had 40 grand in his suitcase, which I googled, that's 800 notes. So he just had 800 notes stuffed in a suitcase. Which I feel like would be pretty easy because our notes are really thin, but they are quite slippery. So, like, awkward if he dropped it. Because, mate, I've dropped a packet before. I'm not going to lie to you. They fly. By the time he had 40 grand in there, the police had Combank surrounded. Now, obviously, like every heist movie ever, negotiations began. And because he's a typical man, he asked for a car.
Was it an Audi?
No, it was
a yellow Audi.
It was a Datsun sedan, and I googled pictures so you could picture it in your mind because I didn't know what it was.
I know what a sedan is, in theory.
Why? What the fuck?
More technical difficulties? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, homie, you're not recording. You've pressed play. Oh, okay, that's when you've gone to look for the image. So we haven't lost anything.
Okay, so what I was trying to do was send you a picture.
Technology
It
hates
really
us today.
does.
We have had my internet go out. You completely kick your power board out at the same time. My webcam completely stop existing and we have to restart my computer. Your Audacity not recording.
I don't know how the fuck I did that.
Oh, I need more wine.
Either way, this is a Datsun sedan. I screenshot like a bunch of them because I really wasn't sure which one it was. So just like take your pick.
I like the shiny blue one.
So do I, but I low-key think it might be the white one in the middle, the 1968 Datsun.
I also like the green one.
I quite like that orange one at the top. So that's the car, right? That's the one he gets.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Dog Day Afternoon was mentioned a lot, and there was like a lot of similarities cast between them, because Dog Day Afternoon is a heist movie that came out in 1975, which is a biographical crime drama with Al Pacino when he was in his hot girl era.
Okay, because I'm really glad that you told me what that was, because I was like, those are words that I know separately. Never
Neither
heard
had
them
I,
together
and I was
before.
so confused, and then I googled it. And actually, from what I read about the movie, it actually seems like a pretty decent movie. So I'm thinking about renting it on whatever streaming service it was on, I don't remember. So yeah, it actually looks really cute because, well, actually, we'll get to that later. We'll come back to it. We'll circle back. So he got his car. The keys were in the ignition. What's his face? Tim, that's his name. Also, I'm just going to send you a photo of him really quickly because he looks like such an icon in this and I forgot to send it to you earlier.
Oh, I have not seen a more 70s image
Right.
in a while.
So anyway, because he's low-key kind of smart when it comes to exiting the bank, he decided to take some, what are they called? Hostages with him. And as you can see in the photo I'm going to send you, he makes them all kind of link arms around him.
Oh, they're just having like a group cuddle.
Yeah, while walking to the car.
They have to hurry because
someone.
he's in the 1 hour meter parking spot.
He also has a gun in his hand on Graham's head.
I did see that.
So anyway, the whole time he's got it pointed at Graham's head. He decides to make good old Graham drive because, branch manager, he's clearly the most responsible. Clearly should be the driver. Oh, that's also why I'm assuming it was the bigger one, because he took 5 hostages. That seems a little bit dramatic, but, you do you, bestie. Oh, excuse me.
I mean, doesn't necessarily mean they were all in the car legally.
That's very true. It is a heist, so, oh no, it's a robbery.
If he's kidnapped them, I feel like he doesn't really care about their safety. Safety.
Ah, yes, he doesn't care about their safety here.
I feel like he probably doesn't care about their safety, so he's probably just, jammed them all in their clown car style.
Possibly. Either way, Graham, the baby boy, was the driver, and he drove through the police blockades and started heading away. Now, one report said that it lasted for several hours, and at one point, he kicked one of the hostages out to pick up his girlfriend. But then the source that I got most of my information from didn't say that, so I'm a little bit confused.
But also, where would she have sat?
I don't really know. So I was really confused by that part. But,
I assume he cares about her safety.
But, it does say, the main one that I got my source from, it does say that they ended up at his house. So maybe they got confused and he was going to collect his girlfriend when the police caught up to him. Because there was, an armada of police looking after him. Armada, that's my new word for today. It means large force of moving humans or whatever. Or it means...
Yes, I know what an armada is.
Whatever, I didn't. Thought it was a cool word. And there's also a helicopter chasing him. Well, monitoring him. Anyway. So either way.
Sky spying.
At some point, they end up back at Tim's house, because apparently when the cops are chasing you, the best place to go is your own home. I don't really know what he was thinking there.
Sure.
Fucking idiot. At some point... apparently there was also so this is where the details get a bit hazy. So there was a police blockade, and apparently Tim was like, yeah, Graham, just fucking floor it through it, it'll be fine. And Graham was like, you're a bit of a dickhead, but you've got a gun at my head, so I'm gonna fucking do what you say. So he did it.
It's a sedan, it's not gonna hold up against it.
That was what I was confused, but then it was they met him
and
at
it
his
also
house.
depends on what the blockade consisted of, because if it's of police cars, that's probably not gonna go far. But if it's just wooden slats across the road or some shit, then maybe.
I literally had 7 sources and could not get accurate information on how this section went down.
Okay.
So I was like, alright, they end up at his house. Somehow he gets out of the car. I thought they were still in the car the whole time, but then a witness account said that he staggered backwards, and I was like, you can't fucking stagger backwards if you're in a car. So, yeah, I'm fucking confused. I think Graham and Tim got out of the car. Oh, sorry. I think Graham and Tim got out of the car.
Okay.
And then Detective Constable...
Staggering revelation, but sure.
Detective Constable Canellis, I will refer to him as DCC for the rest of it, was one of the first coppers at the... Well, he wasn't one of the first. He was the kid at the beginning of the chasey chase. He got out of the car and approached Tim and Graham with a shotgun. And he was like, mate, don't be a dickhead. Let's just stop. And then all of a sudden, while DCC is trying to talk to Tim, a shot rings out. And then obviously the cops are all like, oh, fuck, someone's fired. Obviously it's Tim. Let's all fucking shoot him, which, fair. he might kill
Yeah.
someone. So
He has a gun.
exactly. So it turns out that while Tim had, I'm just going to use my giraffe light. Tim had, I assume, Graham a bit like this. He, at, like, the last second went, like, so you're DCC. He's got Graham like this. And then at the last second, he's switched his aim to DCC and shot at DCC. So then DCC's been like, oh, fuck, my mouth hurts. I'm bleeding. Oops. And then...
Did you shoot him in the mouth?
You shot him in the mouth. Right? What a weird place to shoot someone. And then Senior Detective...
I mean...
Oh, God, wait, no, have I got his name wrong? No, I've got it right. Senior Detective Donald Packer fired a shot through the side window at Tim. So I think he was on the other side of the car and he fired through, like, the driver's side to the passenger side.
Mm-hmm.
And then Detective Sergeant John Nagel shot through the back window. So I think they were, like, kind of on opposite sides of, like, either side of the car. And they shot through. Somehow in this commotion, Paul Graham got shot in the leg. I don't really know how. But Tim got shot in the head and the chest and obviously died because he got shot in the head and the chest. So, like...
That'll do it, yeah.
And then all the other hostages were, like, covered in glass and shit like that. Obviously, because, like, bang, bang, glass windows. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But DCC is okay. He did get shot in the mouth. One report said that he got shot in the mouth and it travelled down his throat into his shoulder, which I was really fucking confused as to how that worked, unless he was super short.
I was going to make a swallowing comment, but that's not connected to your shoulder.
No. But, like, he's fine. He survives. And, like, he goes back to work.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a shot to the mouth was swallowed, though.
50 Cent. But anyway, he... 50 Cent got shot in the mouth outside his grandma's house.
You're completely missing the joke that I'm making.
Oh! Oh, Jeramie! Oh, gosh. Oh, that's embarrassing. I just realised what you meant. So DCC, I don't know how it fucking happened, but he went back to work after 4 months. Perfect. I know, right? 4 months. What a fucking crackhead.
So, did it...
It's
the
confused.
whole mouth thing. Is it like...
I shit you not.
Because I assumed when you first said it that it was like through in one cheek out the other.
Right.
Or something like...
No, but then
Not
another
down
report
his throat
said
into
above
his
the
shoulder.
nose. So I was like...
But your brain's there.
Yeah, but then I was like, did he get like... And then like was like Tim really fucking tall? And DCC was
Were they
short?
on a hill?
Maybe. And then like DCC, like Tim's gone bang and it's gone... Especially if he was looking up. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Well, I mean, if we look at it in this situation,
That's...
like, you can't see, but the way my screen is, I'm above you, so, like, I'm kind of pointing down at you and you're looking up.
That's true.
So, like...
Maybe he was, like,
that...
kneeling with the shotgun.
Bang, bang. Maybe they were in a Skype call and he was the one that made the call.
Oh my
He
god,
just
I'm
went
so
bang,
stupid. You know what I could have
downwards.
done? Looked for a fucking photo of the... Oh my god. Detective Constable... Well, that's not how you spell Constable... What's your name again? Starts with a C. Oh, is his first name Steve? Oh, he's dead. Not from Tim.
Still not good?
No, ooh. Bestie got a bit of a cute stash there. I just realised you can't see the image I'm staring at, so I'm just sitting here like, patting my imaginary mustache, and you're like probably sitting there like, what the fuck is this woman doing?
You're not sharing screen with me anymore.
Apparently this is all good old DCC. Do you have a picture of him after he was shot?
Maybe that's what the mustache is for?
Yeah, but hair can't grow on a scar?
Yeah,
Oh my god, I think he actually is dead. Oh, that's
I'm well
fucking
aware.
depressing.
I have a
Oh
scar.
my god, he is dead.
Oh, okay, so that must be the entry wound.
I assume so, because he's got bruising
on
all
his
around
nose, because
eye.
that's...
But
Yeah, that's not in the first photo.
When he retired
So-
years later, he still had the bullet in his shoulder.
Ouch.
Like, it was still there, so it must have been, like, lodged in something.
Yeah, his shoulder.
No, like, I meant, like, bone or muscle, you two. So, anyway, Bestie DCC is fine. He got a bravery award for it as well. Look at him go. And then apparently later on, when they checked Tim's bank account, he only had $475 in there. So, like, no wonder he was robbing a bank. He's run out of money. And then, apparently, get this right. When they were driving around, he turns around to his hostages and he's like, I'm only stealing money because of my estranged daughter. Pretty sure it's because of your gambling addiction, but okay, bestie. Yeah, right, where did the daughter come from?
Well, when a mummy loves a daddy...
But that's what brings me back to Dog Day Afternoon, because apparently in Dog Day Afternoon, the reason that Al Pacino, who was so hot when he was younger, was stealing, like, while he was robbing a bank, is because he wanted to get money for his wife's sex change surgery. How fucking cute is that? But also, like, really big for, like, a 70s
What
movie.
does that have to do with an estranged daughter?
Nothing. It was just, like, Tim's... It was like Tim's reason was not as nice as whoever the fuck this kid's... whatever his name is, Al Pacino.
One could say that the connection you made was estranged at best.
No. But have you seen, like, young pictures of Al Pacino?
Yes.
Like, old...
I have the internet.
Old pictures of Al Pacino, you're like, ugh. But, like, young pictures of Al Pacino, you're like, damn, boy.
Italians aren't really my type.
Good thing Matteo doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, I'll tell him later.
Like, look at this picture specifically. I'm just sending you a picture of Al Pacino. I really vibe with it.
He's attractive.
I enjoy him
but,
visually.
Like, he's nothing to write home about.
Ugh. Diane Keaton just popped up for me. I fucking hate her. She's so annoying. To end this, Coroner Margaret Sleeman ruled...
You know that thing makes noise, right?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Coroner Margaret Sleeman ruled Tim's death as justifiable homicide. Probably because, like, he shot DCC in the fucking face.
Ouch.
There we go. No good people died.
Yay!
Just a low-key shit.
Well, apparently Steve died later.
Well, yeah, he died, like,
But
recently. But, like, I meant, like, in my crime. No good person died.
right, that's fair. And if you're listening and you're wondering what that random
I'm so sorry.
crinkly foil noise
forgot.
that you kept hearing at random intervals, that was Kirstyn pulling her hat up and down. Like the child that she is.
I forgot that it made noise. I love this hat. I don't even remember how much I spent on it, but I love it.
Too much.
I'm pretty sure I bought it and then wore it the whole day.
Alrighty, are you ready for a shot of depresso?
No.
Well, you're getting one anyway.
Starts crying now.
So,
Oh, I made my eyes
continuing
water.
on.
God, that was uncomfortable.
Righto. A little bit Emily about it, but sure.
Oh, I was trying to, like, push out a fake tear, and all it did was water my eyes.
Why did we need a fake
I
tear
don't know, Jeramie,
anyway?
I just really wanted to, like, add some flair.
That in itself is really Emily.
Very true. I also just noticed that you can see.
Yes, that's what I was going to comment on when you came back, but then I got distracted because your conversation with your maid took forever. I love both the photo of B framed on the wall, but also directly below it, the
Bee costumes.
little apparel rack with all of her costumes on it. And
For sure, bro.
bestie, there's a few. I'm just gonna...
They're not even all hung up.
Hang on. The handbags weren't visible in the original shot, but I like that setup too. Like, damn, bestie.
You know, I love my dog.
That's one for the gram.
She loves her costumes. But what I want to do is instead of having the containers underneath, instead of having containers underneath, I want to see if I can somehow...
Is that more costumes in those containers?
Yes. I want to see if I can attach a pole so I can just have
Bestie,
two rolls.
remember how we were talking about addictions earlier? I think you might need to check yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just love my dog.
Alright, so obviously we already know that my case this week takes place in Adelaide, and I already did the fun facts. Bad Adelaide, for sure. What is it the capital of?
South Australia. I went to say Western.
Oh, homie. Homie, bestie, no.
I really confidently was going to say South Australia, and then I was like, wait, no, it's not South Australia, it's Western Australia. And then I was like, no, you dumb bitch, that's Perth.
I feel like if you keep it up, Adelaide is going to start to take it personal.
Oh! That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Probably.
Anyway. Already did fun facts about Adelaide last week. So I was like, oh, I'll do the thing where I find just something related to the case and find fun facts about that. Couldn't really think of anything. The only clear standout was AFL, which, for those of you who aren't Australian, is Aussie Rules Football. And I refused to put in a second more research into that than I needed to for this case, because I do not care one iota about sports ball. So
that also makes no sense, because the thing is AFL, and you said Aussie Rules Football, which is ARF.
Mm-hmm.
It's Australian Football League, isn't it? That's what it stands for?
I believe so, but then there's also the South Australian something Football League, because I kept seeing SANFL in here, but I'm pretty sure that the two teams are AFL teams, because when I started looking at the wiki, because I start with the Wikipedia page and then obviously branch out and pick other things, the Wikipedia page mentioned the Adelaide, the Australian Rules Football League, the Australian Rules Football in there, and when I hovered over it, it showed me a team that I know is an AFL team. So I was like, oh, okay.
Who fucking knows? Who fucking cares?
Anyway, that's as much as I care about sports ball, so I was like, well, fuck, what the hell kind of facts am I going to look up? I even went as far to try and find fun facts about ovals. Do you know what I got? They're basically an egg shape. I was like, well, I already knew that.
But how do they keep them so green?
Oh, I'm talking like geometry oval.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a footy oval, because football is what you would... Alright.
Yes.
This makes sense.
Anyway, I was like, okay, cool, maybe I just won't have fun facts for this case, but then I remembered the case that I threw in the bin a few weeks ago. So I may or may not have stolen the fun facts from that. Well, that was excessive.
Oh, Jesus.
Someone's not happy
Fucking
with
hell,
my choice.
Karen. Shit. They need to slam me.
What, do you think you owned the place?
Honestly.
I would fire that maid if I were you. So, yeah, I was like, not looking up AFL. No thank you.
Yeah.
Can't find any fun facts about ovals, which is very surprising. So here's some fun facts about gold.
Okay. Gold it is.
And also, these were written very cryptically because they're from the unusable notes, so I kind of remember what they say, but join me on this adventure because I'm only just realizing that I didn't think to rewrite them. This was a last-minute decision this afternoon after I'd been day drinking for like half the day, so.
Like, mood, but also I just scared myself because my candle just finally ran out, and so it turned itself off, and smoke started coming up, and I was like, oh my god, my desk is on fire. It's not, my candle's just dead. Oh, but my mum left her candle here. Alright, tell me some fun facts about gold.
So, high purity metal gold, so gold, is odorless and tasteless.
Who went around and just tasted a bunch of gold?
Well, my thought is just like every time someone say, okay, for example, I'm just going to take a mouthful of wine here. Oh, that tastes like liquid gold. Tastes like gold. Doesn't have a taste. Liar.
Okay, but I don't really exactly describe things as tasting like gold. If I think something tastes really, really good, then I'm like, fuck me, that was orgasmic.
Like the feeling of rust against your salad fingers.
Oh, you know the way to my vagina?
No. No.
Okay, but like technically,
I don't want to go to there.
technically you do know.
Anyway,
the way,
I'm just
because, like, you just have to follow my body down.
As well as that, gold is non-toxic, which is why flakes can be ingested in food and drink.
Oh, that
However,
makes
seeing
sense.
as we just established that it's odorless and
What the
tasteless,
fuck is the point?
if you are doing so, you are literally just doing it to be extra as fuck.
What a mood, though.
So you just are like, how can I be really Emily about this meal or cocktail?
True, because I feel like I've seen, like, in the shop,
Yeah,
like,
but then
gold
because they're
flakes
using...
vodka or something
Yeah.
like that, and I was like,
Yeah,
does it
but then
taste any
because they're
different?
using gold flakes in it, it's more expensive, which I could understand if they were like, oh, gold is fucking delicious, but we just established, much like Kirstyn, she has no taste. I'm sorry, but you showed up here in that jellyfish hat,
she's still
and you want
here.
to tell me that you have taste.
For that comment specifically, I'm putting my jellyfish hat back on.
That's fine.
With a lot of tentacles.
It just looks like an extravagant shower cap. That's what I thought it was when I entered the call.
No, it's a jellyfish with my tentacles.
Well, I know that now.
Sting.
So yes, it can be ingested in food and drink despite having no taste, but is also actually a common allergen. Which I know that people can be allergic to wearing gold, but I guess they can be allergic to eating gold too, which I suppose, yeah, if it's bad for your outsides, it's probably not great for your insides. I don't know. I only wear silver, personally.
I wear both.
Gold's not my colour. It doesn't work with my skin.
Don't really know what colours work with my skin. I just wear things that I think look nice.
Fair.
Probably.
I generally just like silver better. So not quite all, but most of the gold on planet Earth came from meteorites that hit the Earth 200 million years after it was formed.
Damn.
So basically, all gold is
Old as fuck.
space metal. But also a space metal.
I'm gonna start telling people I'm wearing space metal on my fingers.
Yeah. Just to clarify how these notes are written, by the way, it's a miracle that I managed to decipher that one. From meteorites hit Earth 200 M years after formed - space metal. I was not in a good place when I wrote those lost notes.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If you look at some of my handwriting for today, I was just like low-key sick of writing.
Yep.
And I was really hungry. And so I was like, I just want to fucking get these done so I can go eat. And so, like, some of my words...
Oh, speaking of being hungry, there's crackers on my keyboard.
Oh. Like, some of my words are just straight up, like, it doesn't even look like the correct word. Because I've just, like, run it.
Oh, so you wrote like a doctor.
Like, this word here is supposed to be mentioned.
I see neat...
Yeah, it says mentioned. I wrote it. I wrote it, and then I looked at it, and I was like, I know what it means. Kept going.
So a single ounce, which is 28 grams, because I knew you were going to ask. Apparently I had the forethought to do conversions, but not to write sentences.
I like that you did the conversions for me, because I was going to ask that.
It's just interesting to see how my brain...
Well, no, because you know it probably...
weirdly functions post...
I don't have to write real notes. I'll know what they mean. Kirstyn's a dickhead. She's gonna ask me this. I'll have to convert it.
Yeah, probably. So a single ounce, which is 28 grams, can be stretched into a thread that is 5 miles or 8 kilometers long. And this thread is not just like one really long piece of like wire. It is enough of a thread that it can be used in embroidery. And I know that I just called out these people that put the flakes in their food and drink as being extra AF for doing so. But now I want to do a cross stitch with literal gold.
Okay, no, that is fucking cool. I feel
Like
like there should be a gold pun in it as well.
Well, of course, I'd probably just stitch something like Stay Golden or...
Oh, well, it's like a bit on the nose, Jeramie. Go would be a little bit more interesting about it.
What if I did the Australian flag? Like the pattern of the Australian flag, but with gold, because... AU.
Oh. That's cute. I do like that idea. That's quite nice.
That's like...
That's nice. I like that idea.
Science pun.
Science pun.
Country. It's layered. Nobody steal that idea, I'm doing it. One day. Someone send me gold thread. Okay. Furthermore, on what you can do with a single ounce of gold, it is the most malleable element. So a single ounce can be beaten into a 300-foot square. A 300-foot square, which is 91.5 meters. So that can be beaten, it can be beaten down into a sheet of like 91.5 meters squared. And then when it's beaten that thin, it's actually thin enough to be transparent.
Oh.
But gold just, like, if it's a thin, transparent sheet of gold, it appears greenish blue. So, like, you can see through it, but it has a greenish blue tinge, and that is because gold reflects red and yellow light.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what I wrote means. Those are the fun facts that I probably should have rewritten that I stole from the Lost case that have literally nothing to do with this case, but that is because I flat out refused to look up AFL.
Which, fair. No judgment.
And, like, I literally was talking to Reese. I think this was like a big roadblock with writing my notes, but I was talking to Reese about it yesterday on my way home, being like, I don't even know what to look up for my fun facts. I don't want to look up AFL. And he's like, what if you find out that there's a fun fact that someone was murdered on a football field, or that an AFL player did the murdering? I'm like, well, a case isn't a fun fact, is it?
Gosh, Reese. Gosh, I don't even know your own shit.
Anyway, we've had our fun. As I said before, I'm continuing on with my saga of Adelaide bullshit, and this week I'm moving on to the second case of the 3, which is another kidnapping, and while it is still awful and upsetting, is far less so in comparison to what I put you through last week.
So no one dies from getting raped repeatedly?
No.
Yay!
I'm still sorry about that. So, you may remember when you and I were looking at the maps last week, I pointed out the Adelaide Oval and told you to remember that for next week as it would come up again.
Yes, and I'm on the maps right now. Oh, yeah.
Which is why I was going to have to look up fun facts about AFL or ovals. Because this week I will be talking to you about the Adelaide Oval abductions.
That's like really close to the other, to Richard, Mark, and Neil.
Yes. As I said, there's a reason I'm doing all of these cases back to back. Alright, so it is Saturday the 25th of August, 1973.
No, it's Monday the 8th of August, 2020. Sorry, I had to.
Well, we're going to jump in a time machine.
Nice. I don't want to go back to this particular spot in time, though.
So, Saturday, 25th August, 1973, Adelaide Oval. There was an AFL, which as we already established is Aussie Rules football game, between the Norwood Redlegs and the South Adelaide Roosters. That is the extent of the research that I put into the AFL for this case, because that is all that was needed.
Mood.
I found out what teams were playing and what their names were, and I found out what AFL actually is. Well, no, I just confirmed that my brain saying AFL is Aussie Rules was correct.
I used to play AFL. I did Auskick when I was in primary school, but I do not remember a single fucking thing about it other than how to pass the ball.
What do you remember other than to pass the ball? Just in general.
Oh, yeah, I was like, not much, mate. Not much at all.
Precisely. So I'm not surprised that you don't remember anything about AFL.
I'm thinking about getting a pet goldfish.
Is that to go with the tattoo that you've mentioned multiple times, but each time you tell me about it, it's as if it's the first time I'm hearing of it?
Yep.
Like how you have to keep reminding me that giraffes are your favourite animal.
Just in case you forget, Jeramie.
When you picked up your giraffe lamp, I was waiting for... Because, giraffes are my favourite animal.
I thought about it, but I was like, no, he knows.
Alright. So we're at the Oval, and there's a football game. It's between the Norwood Redlegs
That's a terrible
and South Adelaide Roosters. Among the roughly 13,000 spectators in the stand were two young girls.
Oh, why is it
11-year-old.
girls? I don't know why that made my brain think it was worse.
11-year-old Joanne Ratcliffe and 4-year-old Kirsty Gordon.
A 4-year-old.
So I have photos to send you.
Oh, they're fucking cute.
Yeah, so I feel like I don't need to tell you which one is the 11-year-old and which one is the 4-year-old.
Her red dress.
So in both of them, you have Joanne on the left, and I'm not looking at the photo, so I'm just guessing here. You have Joanne on the left and Kirsty on the right. Yes, in both photos. Sorry, my computer wasn't cooperating. Alright, so, as I said, Joanne Ratcliffe and Kirsty Gordon, 11 and 4, are among the roughly 13,000 spectators at this game. The two had actually never met before this day. However, unfortunately, from this day on, their names would be linked to one another. So, Joanne's family, which were her parents Les and Kathleen and her older brother David, as well as a family friend Frank, was seated next to Kirsty. Were seated next to Kirsty Gordon and her maternal grandmother, who was looking after her while her parents were away on a trip. So the Ratcliffes had a very specific set of rules regarding the children going to the bathroom during football games. So they weren't allowed to go during breaks in the game which I'm assuming that's likely because
really
that's
busy
when other people would go. So
the bathrooms get
it would be
really
busier.
busy at footy games and the break, like in halftime and shit like that. You fucking go when the game's still on because hardly anyone's there.
Yeah. So I suppose that was kind of their strategy to reduce the chances of them getting lost in the crowd. And in this day and age, stranger danger wasn't a super big thing. But then at the same time, I really have to, when we get to next week's case, or the next episode case, because, yeah, now's probably a good time to just jump in and quickly say that we both have a lot going on at the moment. So after this recording, we're both just going to take a week or two, an undetermined amount of time off, no longer than 2 weeks, I would assume, before recording again. So it'll just be like a little gap. And I'd rather do that in between cases, not in the middle of two parts of one case. So next episode, or in the next case, you will also be questioning why stranger danger wasn't more of a thing specifically in Adelaide at this time.
Yeah, Adelaide, get your shit together.
Specifically with young children. Okay.
Wait,
in crowded places.
Just checking, this is happening after last week's case?
This is 1973, so this is before the murders.
But not
the family.
before.
It's before the family murders, but there was still
missing people.
A lot of abductions related to the family murders through the 70s. I'm not sure if they had started before this or not. From what I've been reading, because in the process of looking up these cases, I've stumbled upon other cases of the same time in Adelaide. I'm starting to see a huge pattern from about 1966 to 1983 of Adelaide not being a great place and stranger danger really, really being necessary.
When did stranger danger come out?
I don't know. So this case is two girls going missing in a crowded place away from their parents. And the next case that I'm going to cover, the big one that all of these connect to, is also children in a crowded place.
Fuck me, mate.
Disappearing. Which is why I'm and that happened before this. Which is why I'm questioning why in 1973, especially because these two cases are so linked and, like, you can't read about one without seeing the other mentioned, why 7 years later people still felt that it was safe to send their children away in a public space.
Well, I've just quickly Googled stranger danger, and it doesn't look like there was really an emphasis on it until the early 2000s. So that, I guess, would kind of make sense, but at the same time, if all of this bad shit is happening around fucking children...
I don't know about you, but I feel like for me, Daniel Morecambe was about when it really became a thing in my world.
I was thinking about covering Daniel Morecambe.
Which I want to say is about 2008.
I don't remember, because I remember growing up...
No, that's 2004.
Yeah, Daniel died in 2003.
Okay, what shit? It's earlier than 2004. So like,
yeah. So he was abducted in 2003, and then it was 8 years later, so 2011, that someone was captured for it.
So
that makes sense. It did say early 2000s.
2003. I was 10. Yeah. So that's about when it really came into light in my world that I was like aware of it.
I feel like that makes sense for me as well, because it was like the Daniel
thing.
Morecambe thing happened because he got like, it was something like, especially the bus thing.
But this case that I'm covering next episode is the 60s version of that, but worse. So that's why I don't understand why 7 years later in the same suburb, it's still not
not good.
Because, like, there's only so much they could have done for the family murders because those were, like, teenage boys. Aside from Peter, who was 14, the rest were, like, 16, 17, 18.
Practically adults in that time.
By that point, you kind of stop preaching stranger danger to your children. But these are 11 and 4.
Literally, though. And like a 4-year-old, why the fuck would you let them out of your sight?
Joanne was considered very mature for her age.
Oh!
So, Joanne's the
I was
11-year-old.
like, she's
Sorry,
4!
yes. Kirsty's 4. Joanne is 11. Joanne was considered very mature for her age, so it was her parents... The parents felt she was responsible enough to look after... like to go to the bathroom separately with a younger child.
I get that, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, so they weren't allowed to go during breaks or during the last quarter. And I feel like that one's more just because the family don't want to have to worry about missing out on action.
Yeah, literally.
Seeing who wins. Which also fair, I guess. I don't know, I don't care. It's football. On this particular day, Joanne and Kirsty were allowed to leave the family on 2 occasions to go to the bathroom together. So they didn't go separately, they went together, and it was basically, Joanne's mature and responsible enough to keep her eye on the 4-year-old as they go together.
Yeah.
They never returned after the second trip. So the girls left for the bathroom at about 3:45 p.m., which was in the 3rd quarter, I think. And after they hadn't returned by 4, so 15 minutes later, the families began to search for them to no avail. I actually found a soundbite from a radio show, an Australian radio show in Adelaide from February last year, where the hosts were taking calls from people for answers to the question, if you could go back in time, what would you change?
No, did one of the parents call in?
They got a call from a woman named Deirdre, who said if she could do so, she would go back to August 25th, 1973, when she also was a young girl, and tell the 2 young girls that left the bathroom just moments before her not to.
Oh, fuck. Was she like the last person to see them?
More or less. Aside from
the last
witness
people to
statements
speak to
after.
them.
Yeah. So she recounted Joanne and Kirsty playing with the water in the sinks and her joining in and them all having a laugh and fun. The girls then walked out of the bathroom while she dried her hands and left just a few steps behind them, only they were nowhere to be seen. I'm actually going to send you the link to that so that you can listen to it. We won't include it in the episode, just so that you can hear it, because holy shit. Because at first I was like, I mean, anyone can say anything, let's be real. You can hear the...
like the emotion in her voice.
Yeah, the emotion in her voice, like, fuck.
It sounds like she's about to cry.
Right?
And when she's talking about her kids and her grandkids, she's like, they were always like, why are you so paranoid about this? And she's like, I'm not fucking letting you out of... Well, she didn't swear. She's like, I'm not letting you out of my sight. I'm always holding your hands. Like, oh my... And she was like 13.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that, though. Like, you meet some girls in the bathroom. Like, I don't know about you. I don't think it's the same with boys' bathrooms, but girls' bathrooms, you can fucking make friends with anyone in those fuckers. Especially if you're drinking. But if you're like a little kid...
It's like a smoker's area, basically.
If you're a kid as well, just coming out and being like, oh, fuck yes, you're playing water? I'll play with water. These chicks are cool. And then she's so cute. She was like, oh, I was going to turn around and tell my dad that I was playing with them. But then they were gone. And I'm like, oh, my God.
And the fact that it was nearly 50 years ago...
And she said that she could still remember it like it was yesterday.
Like, yeah. Yeah. It's not something that you would easily forget, I would assume.
No.
Like, after finding that out, yeah. So, yeah, I found that.
Damn.
And it was very upsetting to hear, but I also thought it was just an interesting thing worth noting in the case, like, as a part of behaviour leading up, like, beforehand, or even just a sighting.
Yeah, like, they were, like, just doing nothing, something normal. They were just playing, and then they were obviously going back to their parents.
Yeah.
And how quickly it happened, because as you said, she was only, like, 6-7 steps behind them.
Yeah, like, it was one door closed.
Another door opened.
Yeah, and she opened the other door right after the first one, like, the second one had closed, and by the time she came out the second door, they were gone. So, it's like... But also in a crowded space, like, it is easy for things to slip by and be lost as well, so...
Have you seen the movie Sudden Death with, Jean Van Damme? Jean Van Damme? Is it Van Damme?
No. I don't know why I thought mouthing it was appropriate. This is an audio format, as we go over every week. No, I have not.
It's about a character who, obviously Jean Van Damme, is a dad, and he takes his 2 kids to a hockey game, and some shit goes down at the hockey game, and I think there's a scene where, if I'm remembering correctly, there's a scene where Jean Van Damme's daughter goes to the toilet because her brother doesn't want to go with her, so she goes by herself. And then when she's in the bathroom, she thinks she sees the mascot. It's actually a bad person, and then that person just takes her.
Oh, okay.
And it happens so quickly, and it's like no one notices because there's that many people walking around the stadium and stuff like that. I think at one point even like the bad person like picks her up and is carrying her, and she sees her dad and she yells out to him, but he physically can't even get to her because of the amount of people.
Because there's that many people, yeah. So, like I said, the girls left for the bathroom, and about 15 minutes later at 4 p.m, they hadn't returned. So the families began frantically searching for them. After no luck in their search, Joanne's mother, Kathleen, was able to have an announcement made over the PA system, but this wasn't until 5 p.m, or just after 5 p.m, following the end of the game. So by that point, over an hour had passed, and the girls were reported missing to the police by 5:15 that day. I'm pretty sure I read the time 5:12 everywhere. Just seemed a little bit too specific to me, so I was like, we'll just go with before 5:15. Because obviously the whole trope of they have to be
missing for 24 hours.
Missing for 24 hours is not a thing.
Especially if it's a fucking kid. Like, do it as soon as possible.
Especially with children, but even with grown adults, it's not a thing.
If you think someone is missing and you are seriously scared for them, just fucking call.
Oftentimes it is suggested, like in some cases, give it 24 hours. Like, I'd probably give it 24 hours if you weren't responding to my message or something.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person who doesn't always respond.
And I do that too sometimes. I would be able to use other things to be able to gauge if I needed to be concerned. Like, often I will see your activity on Facebook, not whether you're online or not, but I'll see that you've liked something or something. And I can be like, okay,
she's not dead.
That was posted 2 hours ago and she liked it. She's not dead. Cool. But if you have grounds for belief that they're missing or that something is not right, for example, they've been acting strangely recently and sending you cryptic messages, and suddenly you can't get a hold of them, and it's only been 2 hours. Maybe grounds.
Welfare check, besties. That's a thing.
Anyway. But in this case of children, 100% if it's more than, like, half an hour, definitely. I feel like even if it's more than 5 minutes, definitely like within grounds to be like, my child is missing.
You see parents at our work, like, you see some of them, they find a staff member immediately. They're like, my kid is missing. Like, our team, I know that when I'm on, if I hear about a missing kid, I drop everything that I'm doing and I will go search my area. and try and find them. I will try and help in any way that I can. And then, like, luckily, in pretty much every case that I've had, we found the kids straight away.
So, I found an article from 2016 of Kirsty's parents recounting their experience that day. So remember, Kirsty was with her grandmother because
and she was with
the
her
4-year-old
grandma and her
was
brother?
with her grandmother because it was
Joanne's
Joanne's parents' brother and family friend, and then it was
Kirsty and her grandma.
Kirsty's grandmother and just her, and they were seated together. That's how the two girls met.
I assume that they would be pretty close as well, and then it makes sense that Joanne was the one to take Kirsty to the toilet, because especially if her grandma was, like, old as fuck, like, it's not going to be super easy for her to get up and down the stadium stairs to go to the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah, I think from what I could gather, the Gordons knew the Ratcliffes.
Probably had, like, same social circles.
The two girls didn't know each other.
Right.
Like, it didn't seem like they knew each other, like, besties knew each other.
Everyone just, like, knew of each other, but then
like,
again, Kirsty's 4, so it was more like Joanne was like, that's Mom's friend's kid.
Oh, no, I mean, like, the adults.
Oh, right.
I don't think they, like, were besties, knew each other, but they knew each other in that they had met before, I guess. Well, the definition of knew each other.
Maybe they went to church together.
Maybe. We're getting hung up on the wrong parts of this case, as per usual. Last week it was Audi's and I don't even remember anymore. Oh, the ransom requests. This week we're getting hung up on the connection of the adults that are just watching a football game with their kids. So yeah, Kirsty's parents, a recount of their experience that day. As I said, they were on a trip, which is why Kirsty was with her grandmother, and they had just sat down to dinner when they were approached by restaurant staff with a phone call. The grandmother was sobbing on the other end, and then they had the 3-hour drive back home. And this was before phones, so they were scanning radio stations for, like, any update that they could
just realized
hear.
As well?
I cannot even begin to imagine what kind of hell that drive was.
Kirsty's grandma, like, is probably dead. Are her parents dead?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay, but, like, her grandma is definitely dead. How sucky.
I'm assuming her parents are still here
alive.
Because, like, this article's from 2016, like, and then I'm pretty sure I came across a follow-up from 2018 that also was from them.
Like,
so
the grandma just trying to look after her granddaughter. Her little 4-year-old took her to a footy game. Not the best choice in footy, but you do you. And was trying to, like, some cute bonding experience, and then she gets fucking kidnapped and she dies without ever knowing what happened to her. And she probably blamed herself.
Can you also see, though, that I needed to find some things to beef this case up?
No, that's fair.
Because it's a really important one, and it does connect to the big case that I have, but that we get more into that in that case. So I didn't have a lot for this one, so I was, like, just trying to find things that were also worth noting to just beef it up a bit, because otherwise I had, like, a page.
Also, you might hear my Audacity soundtrack, some sirens in the background.
That is fine.
Kind of fitting with what we're talking
Kirstyn's
about.
just been out there setting fires again.
No, that's Jeramie's thing.
I'm just disappointed that she did it without me.
I would invite you if I was going to set fire to something.
Cute.
Romance.
I probably wouldn't invite you because it would probably be an instantaneous, hey, let's do this right now decision.
No, but I feel like even then I would be like,
but I would
like,
snap you the experience.
I would literally message you and be like, Jebba, I'm literally about to set something on fire. Like, Uber to me. Uber.
I would probably Snapchat you the experience of, so I'm doing a thing, throws match over my shoulder.
And I would love it. And then I would literally just, like, text you and be
me.
like, so where are you doing the thing? Because I'll come and pick you up. so I can look at the fire for a bit and then, like, be your escape plan.
Yeah, on my way, let's go.
Got you, bestie.
Cool. All right. It's basically how I announce most things. So, like, oh, cut all my hair off. So I did a thing.
That's how I announced to the girls that I cut my hair off. I'm pretty sure. I, like, started the snap really close to my face. And I was like, so I did a thing. And then just reached out and, like, my, like, to my ass-length hair was now at my shoulders.
Most people know that if they receive a message from me saying, so I did a thing, that there's going to be a photo to follow of some kind of drastic change to my life. So, as the headlines hit the news, and these headlines were not, I did a thing. They were missing children. Like, important headlines, not Jeramie cut his hair. So as these headlines hit the news, witnesses came forward with multiple reported sightings from over the 90 minutes following.
Oh.
So there were a few... There were quite a few sightings reported. Obviously, it was such a crowded place. But these were the ones that I saw and heard everywhere, like they're the notable ones.
Yeah.
Once when trying to attract the attention of a stray cat. So I'm not sure if they were trying to, like, call it out from under a car or
like
something,
rude,
but...
though. Honestly, every time I see a fucking cat out in public, I'm like, friend?
Literally, I'll be like, okay, I'm currently 5 minutes early. I have 2 minutes to stand here and just hold out my hand waiting for this cat to come and sniff it.
I like that you check. I'm just straight up like, fuck everything else that I'm doing. There is a cat.
I don't like the idea of being late.
Whereas I am
aware that your concept of on time is 5 minutes late. My concept of late is I'm not going to be there either at the time I told you or 5 minutes earlier. So, or there's a possible chance that that's the case. So I will send you a text being like, hey, I know it's an hour before we're supposed to meet, but I might be running slightly late, and then I'll still arrive 5 minutes early. The
only people I will do that for is my job, and that's because they're paying me to be there.
You don't even do that for them!
Okay, no, I don't do it if it's 5 minutes. Fuck that. It's 5 minutes. I never finish on time. But if it's going to be longer than 5 minutes, then I'll, like, shoot a message. I'll be like, hey.
So, yes, there was one time when they were trying to get the attention of a stray cat. That's how we got there. Another time with other children, which is all I got on that. Oh. But most notably, with an unknown man.
Fucking white man. I'm just assuming it's a white man.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was a white man.
Ugh, fucking white people.
So, given the time, I also feel like it probably would have been noted in all of the reports that
it was probably a white
they weren't
person.
White. Because they were in
Because if
Adelaide.
it wasn't a white person, it would have been black person, a black person did it.
One key sentence that's about, or one key part of, one key sentence, like the whole sentence, you will hear and immediately go, oh, yes, it has to have been a white person, because I just realised.
Oh, do they refer to them as mentally ill?
No.
Because apparently only white people do bad stuff because they're mentally ill. If it's a black person, they're just a shitty person.
Keep in mind that it's the 70s, and while an assumption like this could be made nowadays, some people likely still wouldn't because of bias. Still a possible connection to make. Definitely wouldn't have been made back then. So, a witness who had been at the match claimed to have seen the two girls in the company of a thin, middle-aged man wearing a sports coat and an Akubra-style hat.
It's definitely a white dude.
Not even the sentence that I'm talking about, but also yes. He scooped the younger girl up in his right arm and began walking to the south gate before the older girl grabbed at him and kicked at his shins.
And no one did anything!
Hold up. A pair of eyeglasses fell from his coat pocket, and after leaning down to pick them up, he grabbed the older girl by the arm and dragged the two towards the car park. The witness thought little of it, assuming he had just seen a father wrangling his unruly children.
I feel like even if I
Which
did...
is why I'm
definitely
saying
gonna be
it's
a fucking
definitely
white
a
person.
white guy, because
But at the same time, I
there's
feel like
no way in hell someone would have made that assumption.
Shit, no,
back
if
then.
that was a person of colour doing that to two white girls, fucking Christ, the whole stadium would have been on them. But also, if I was a witness and I saw that, I would still think that that's a bit odd.
He wasn't the only one to describe that exact scenario.
Okay, I get the whole stupid bystander effect, but I still think at the same time, I would have been like, oh, that's a bit sketch. Like, and I would, if I didn't feel like, because I'm not super confrontational with strangers, I would probably just follow
what I'm
them
saying
to
is
the
that
car
he's not
park to maybe see if it was like super sketchy, or if it was like
everyone who has come forward and reported seeing that has basically said the same thing, that at the time they didn't think anything of it. They just thought it was a dad whose children were playing up. And
I get it, but I don't get it.
We're also thinking about it from 2022 brains, where it is,
Stranger
we
danger.
don't smack kids, we don't let them out of our sight, all of those kinds of things. This is the 70s.
Wow.
Your kids messed up, they messed up. If they're not listening when you say come to the car, you drag them there.
And I feel like also nowadays we believe children more compared to back in the day.
Yes. That's also a thing, and I think that's also because a lot more of these stories have been brought to the light, and also a lot more people have taken a strong interest in true crime and heard these kinds of things and then are having children, keeping that in mind.
Yeah,
It's also probably that most of us have had the Daniel Morecambe situation happen as we were growing up,
if you're
and been
Australian
aware of that.
kid, then you have heard of Daniel Morecambe.
Exactly. And we've been raised, if someone that isn't your mum and dad is taking you away, don't yell out mum, dad, because people will just assume that you're screaming at your parents. You yell out fire or call out something else to get attention. This is probably what stemmed that, because I don't know exactly how many, but multiple witnesses reported that kind of situation and just went with it because that's the assumption that was made. And I can understand it if I put myself in that lens instead of my personal brain of, that doesn't look right. But I'm also someone who, like, my old upstairs neighbours, I would never ever hear a single peep from them, and every now and then there would just be a really loud, sudden thud. And it was usually at odd hours, so every time I was like, oh, I might just keep track of what time that was in case
something happens.
I find out in a week's time that someone died.
Oh, what a mood. God.
So
Too much sketchy shit happens on my street, though.
But I just find myself doing it all the time where I'm just like, okay, that strange thing happened this time. All right, keep that in mind just in case. And then a week later, I'm like, why am I remembering that some dude blew his nose at 8:14 yesterday afternoon? 8:14 yesterday afternoon, that's a strange time that doesn't exist. Anyway, so he just assumed he'd seen a father wrangling his unruly children until he saw the news. Like, probably even that same fucking night. Who knows? Like, shortly after, it would have at least been within the next 2 days. So his description of the man he saw matched that of a man seen by several others that day as well. including a motorist who later claimed to have seen the trio 3 kilometers, 1.8 miles away later in the day. A sketch was made and released to the press, and as I said, I have that sketch for you.
Oh. Is he wearing a turtleneck or no shirt? Oh, it's just a really faint line for the shirt.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like a collared shirt. Not a collared shirt, like a crew neck shirt. Like a t-shirt. So, unfortunately, the case didn't go anywhere. It's obviously unsolved. That's why I'm talking about it. Joanne and Kirstyn were never found, and their abductor was never identified. Nearly 50 years, it will be 49 years in about 2.5 weeks' time, because it's currently the 8th of August. Over 2,000 lines of inquiry and a $1 million reward later, the case still remains cold. But I'm not going to leave you there.
Because we're going to solve it and split the mill.
Yes, we will split the mill 90-10.
No, 50-50.
80-20. I did the
50-50.
notes. I do the editing. 70-30.
60-40.
I will give you 65-35.
65-35. Yeah, I'll take it.
Alrighty, cool. But, no, I'm not going to leave you high and dry. We're not going to solve the case. Well, I mean, it would be great if we could. I highly doubt it, but I would love that $650,000, that's for sure. Because you're going to get the 350,000. I don't. You can have 35,000. That's all you need.
No.
I'll take the rest.
So helpful.
I do have some information, theories, and findings that I personally felt were worth noting. My glass is empty. Alright. I'm back. I have wine. Life has purpose. Alright. Let's talk about this not great thing to a not great person.
From a not great person.
You're right, I'm not great. I'm excellent. In 1979, Joanne's father, Les, told the court that his daughter had been to the Oval many times, would not have left voluntarily, and that she knew how to use a phone and what numbers to call in an emergency. So, it's highly unlikely that even if they did decide to just wander off and left the Oval and found themselves lost with no way to get back, that they wouldn't have reached out and be like, "Hey Dad, there's a cloud that looks like a tree. Come pick me up." I'm hoping the kid would give better directions than that.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of terrible, Jeramie.
I'm also in the day and age where I'm used to just, like, being like, here's a pin to my location. You can track me live.
Yeah.
Like, you can share your Uber trip with someone. You can literally Facebook message or any kind of message your location to someone. So a key suspect considered is one Arthur Stanley Brown, who was charged but not convicted because of court stuff. I did know the reason. I apparently didn't include the reason, and I've forgotten the reason. So because of court stuff is what we'll stick with. It had something to do with the jury. He wasn't convicted anyway for the 1970 murder and rape of 2 young girls in Townsville, Queensland. So he had been charged for that and tried, but he wasn't convicted at the trial. Which he became a suspect when a woman who at 14 witnessed the scene I mentioned earlier of the dad and kids. Not dad and kids. She identified him 25 years later in 1998 after seeing him on TV. it's never actually been confirmed or proven if Brown even actually visited Adelaide.
Does he look
So,
like the sketch?
I have a photo for you. However, I feel like the article that I got these photos from was specifically trying to sway you to think that they look like the photo by only using a photo of them wearing hats.
Oh.
Like,
That's silly.
with brimmed hats.
Oh. I mean...
That's also, like, a more recent photo of him.
Photo, but I can
and
see
that's
it.
That's where I'm questioning if they've done it that way because they want us to see photos of them wearing hats, not specifically what they would have looked like 50 years ago.
Yeah, but even, like...
Or at the actual time of the case.
The facial structure, like his nose...
I do see it,
and the ears and the cheekbones.
Well, don't settle yourself on that one yet because I still have more bullets
I don't like the eyebrows,
to follow.
though.
A key thing here, actually, I'll get to it in a second. Another suspect of note is one Stanley Arthur Hart.
Because he has no heart?
Have you picked up the same thing about the names that I picked up while writing these?
Stanley Arthur Hart. I don't remember the other guy's name, apart from the fact that his last name's Brown.
So, we have Arthur Stanley Brown and Stanley Arthur Hart. Why is it those two names in particular? Stanley Arthur, Arthur Stanley.
Oh, ew. That's weird. Clearly someone out there has a fucking...
I'd read this before, and, like, I'd read all of this information before and been like, yep, cool, I know of these guys. Didn't actually compute until I typed out Stanley Arthur Brown, and then, minutes later, I'm typing out Stanley Arthur Hart. Arthur Stanley Brown, Stanley Arthur Hart. And I'm like, wait.
What?
My fingers just did those same movements. What?
Yeah, that is weird.
So, yeah. Anyway, here's another suspect of note. So, a decade after the abduction... He was, in 1983, 1984, somewhere around there. It didn't say, it just said a decade after.
Back when
it didn't
Tim
specify it
was
yet.
robbing banks.
Yes, pretty much. And the family murders were finishing up. Yay. Anyway, he was found to have been a child abuser.
Oh,
yay. And his family have said that while he did not attend the Adelaide Oval with them that day, he rarely missed a Roosters footy match, and with it being a final between arch rivals, it was likely he was there.
Oh.
I also have a quote from a 2015 article from the Advertiser, and I chose to keep this paragraph particularly as is, rather than paraphrase it, because I'm not entirely sure what some of the wording means, and we'll get to that in a second. Convicted pedophile family member Mark Marshall, in a 2007 confession to the Mulligan Inquiry into Children in State Car, also suggests his Papa Stan had taken a hat and coat from Grandad's house to wear to the footy that day. So that quote is that someone in a confession said that Stan implied that Stan took a hat and a coat from Grandad's house to wear to the footy that day. So not only that he was at the footy, but he was wearing a hat and a coat, much like the man in the witness statement was wearing. But the reason that I didn't want to paraphrase that sentence was because I'm not entirely sure whether convicted pedophile family member means that the family member is a convicted pedophile, or if they are the family member of a convicted pedophile, or if when they say the family, they mean
The family.
the family.
That is very confusing. But also, I would think that it would be convicted pedophile family member would mean that family member is a convicted pedophile.
Convicted pedophile family member Mark Marshall. Yeah, to me, my first thought was,
Marshall...
okay, he's a family member
did you try
of...
Googling Mark Marshall?
I did. It did not lead me anywhere. It took me to a football player.
Yeah.
Which is not what I wanted.
That's a bit yucky.
Yes. So...
pedophilia runs in the family.
There's that quote. And then... So yeah, basically in 2009 and then again in 2015, properties previously owned by Hart, he died in 1999, so he was long dead. I'm assuming he was long dead by the time he became a suspect from what I read, because it was like 2007, 2009, 2015, I don't know. Properties previously owned by him were investigated twice. Once in 2009, once in 2015. One of these properties actually featured an underground bunker, and it had been filled in sometime before 1975. The girls went missing in 1973. Late 1973, because for a year from March of 1973... Hart reportedly had unrestricted and unmonitored access to what was, at the time, an abandoned home that also had an underground bunker on it that was filled in 1975. The investigations of the properties included the excavation of 2 wells, but at this point has led to no further answers. And the current owners of the property, from what I've read, seem completely cooperative with the police searching the properties. Obviously, they have no connection to it, but it's an important Australian case to be solved. But I feel like short of just digging the garden up in general, unless they can figure out where exactly the bunker would have been filled in...
Yeah, they can't really do much.
They can't, and they don't know for certain that he did it and that it's there. And finally, I came across an article from 2013, so that's 40 years after the abduction, that I saw, and I just stopped and I was like, okay, that is definitely worth noting.
Definitely what?
Because
worth noting. Okay,
worth
sorry,
noting.
My ear is so itchy.
In 2013, Joanne's younger sister, Susie, who was born 14 months after Joanne disappeared. So she never knew or met her. I found an article.
Grow up in a disappeared sister's shadow.
Yep. I found an article where for years, that stated that for years she didn't know who the girl in the photo with her older brother David was, until she asked, and her parents were like, "Oh, that's your sister Joanne." And it basically said that her parents tried to hide their sadness and their loss and grief from the two of them, but obviously it was still very much there. And so she has to live with missing a sister that she never even met, on top, the grief of losing that sister as well. This actually leads in perfectly into a really nice quick sidebar that I did have notated here anyway. Joanne runs a missing persons advocacy group called Leave a Light On, Incorporated. And I actually have a quote from her as to why it is called that, which is the sidebar that I noted. Mum and Dad used to leave the porch light on every night. So if Joanne ever came home, she'd know we'd been waiting for her. It was a symbol of hope for our family.
Oh, mate.
So now her younger sister, who never met her or knew her, but grew up missing her, runs a missing persons advocacy group called Leave a Light On Incorporated, and she deals with the families of missing people. She tries to build a community and foster.
That's so cute.
Yeah, because obviously it's a situation that you can only understand if you've been in it. But yes, I made a point of notating that because I thought that was so important. Like, that was a brilliant thing to find when looking up this case.
It's really sweet.
Anyway, that sister, Susie, came forward in 2013 and revealed that the family friend in attendance with the Ratcliffes on the day of the game, the man known as Frank, well, he actually sold his home in the late 70s to one Thora von Einem, the mother of Bevan von Einem.
Dude, that's sketch as fuck.
That is homeboy from last week. The previous case, the one believed to be at the center of the family murders. Frank had attended games with family before and had intimate knowledge of Joanne's routine movements at games.
That's fucking creepy.
Joanne's mother stated that, he had been
I
there
know, but
with
it's
them
still
before,
creepy.
so he knew about the specific rules. It was, that was just the common wording that I saw and kind of mimicked, but didn't realize until I said it out loud how creepy that sounds. He was aware of her regular routine.
Ew, Jeramie, yuck.
So Joanne's mother stated that he left his seat for about 30 minutes before the girls disappeared. And reportedly, so he was seated before they left. Like, he returned before they left. But he also reportedly remained seated after that and did not participate in the search.
That's fucking weird, though. If you've been going to the footy with these with this kid...
But also didn't want to miss the game.
I'm sorry, but no.
What if old mate number 7, I'm assuming they're numbered, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
What if he kicked a home run through the slam dunk?
What? You just use baseball and basketball. Fuck, Jeramie, I don't follow sports, but I at least know that. I think it's called a try.
He didn't...
That's what it's called in NRL, but still.
I'm trying, okay?
Try harder. No one thought that was weird at the time.
He didn't want to miss the home run in the slam dunk basket hole.
No, just no.
Base. Goal. So, I don't know.
Did no one think that was weird, though? Like, he knows the family. He has been going to footy games with them for enough that he knows her intimate routines or whatever the fuck it was.
Her routine movements.
Oh, her routine movements intimately. But he didn't get up and fucking try and look for the girl? Like, fuck me. That's... or was his excuse, I'll stay here in case they come back?
It could have been. I mean, that is an integral role in every horror movie. That person has to stay there so that they can get got.
Literally there.
And the others don't. Because obviously we need to save the final girl.
I reckon I'd be the final girl.
No.
Like, even
not a chance in hell.
I feel like I'd be, like, in the middle, at least.
The Cancer Libra combo in me tells me that I would either be the one that ends up talking their way out of getting killed or being the one doing the killing.
That's fair. I feel like I'd be the one who, like, low-key figured out who it was and then was like, oh, shit, now you have to kill me. And I would know at the end. I'd be like, I would know why. And then they would just be like, Saul's bestie, you've got to die. And I'd be like, well, fucking fair. I figured it out.
knowing my personality just in general, I would probably know that they were going to start their killing spree about a week before they did it.
That's fair.
Simply because I would just know it before they're ready to tell me about it, like I always am. Anyway, back to this yucky fact.
Oh, yay.
Oh, well, so it's not actually known if the police ever questioned Frank.
That's weird.
But
I feel like that should have happened.
The family don't outright accuse him of involvement. They more just brought it to the media's attention to say that they felt every lead needs to be fully explored.
Well, it was probably
So they weren't
really
saying, hey, we think it's him, get him.
It was like...
It's more, hey, do you feel like this might be something worth addressing? We don't think it's the case, but hey, for our peace of mind, could you please?
Like, his behaviour that day was a bit sketch. Can we maybe just, look into it? Find out what the hippity hap was?
Like when I just randomly text you and say, you're not mad at me, right? I'm pretty sure that you're not, but I just want to be sure. I'm 80% certain, hey, she's not mad at me, she's just Kirstyn.
No, I just have disgusted looks on my face a lot.
Anyway, in that tangent that we went off on that is not included in this episode, that I get to delete an hour of whatever that was, I realised that in my notes there was an article that I found that I completely forgot to include. Also from 2013. I'm going to be reading straight from the article because I never actually paraphrased it to put it into my notes at the end there. I completely forgot about it, even though I had the tab open and saved the link in my notes. Like I do every time Anyway, so in 2013, so 40 years after the fact, prospect man Robert McMahon, 73 years old, approached the Sunday Mail during the week claiming he saw the girls at a Vine Street boarding house on the day they were supposedly abducted. He said the girls were accompanied by a man known as Scotty, with whom he shared the boarding home. Scrolling a bit further down. So, Mr. McMahon claims that late on the afternoon of August 25th, 1973, he was sitting in his room watching a VFA, whatever that is, football match on TV, when he heard a racket out the back of the house.
No idea what the A stands for.
Sure. I went to check, and there was one of the boarders coming in, and he had 2 children with him. He said, I don't know what that was. He had the little one under his right arm, and the other one was ahead of him. He walked them around in a circle in front of us, 4 or 5 men, laughing and joking.
Ew.
He said the kids were his grandchildren, but when the older one went to speak, he told her to shut up and not say anything. I can still see the taller girl now as she walked past me. It was all very weird.
Why wouldn't you say something then?
So, hold up. Listen on. Mr. McMahon, who was 33 at the time of the girl's disappearance, went to the kitchen area of the boarding house where he said he watched the man drag the small girl to the back of his van that was parked in a laneway. He threw the little one in roughly and motioned to the bigger one to jump in, he said. He slammed the back door and then locked it. It's not the way you treat your grandchildren.
And yeah.
Mr. McMahon said he was so concerned he returned to his room and did sketches of the girl, Scotty, and the van. He said he rang police the next day when news broke of the possible abductions. So news hadn't broken until the next day. So the next day after seeing it, he reached out to the police. When I saw the photos, I knew for sure it was the girls that I'd seen, he said. But the police said they had hundreds of sightings and would get back to me. He claimed they never did.
Okay, but I'm sorry, but if you see something like that, why would you not go to the police station with your sketches and be like, hey, I did call.
I agree. I agree. He said he rang the police a week later and then again around the first anniversary of the abductions with the same result.
You're making
He said he
fucking
didn't pursue
effort
it
to
further
call.
out of frustration. But as well as that, how can they confirm that he didn't sketch the girls before the images hit the news?
Still,
So that's
a bit...
I get... If he was like, hey, I have these photos that are timestamped, that's a big different thing of, I sketched these girls because I saw them.
Also, I really like your shirt.
And then they showed up on the news the next day. Thank you.
Sorry, I've been thinking about it like the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I like it too. I just don't wear it often. Because well, the bottom half is white or off. It's not. It's cream.
It's quite nice,
but there's already a stain on it from the last time I wore it.
It's very cute though.
It is. It's like a nice little color block.
No, it looks adorable.
Anyway, that's the article that I forgot to add to my worth noting, and that is the case of the Adelaide Oval abduction or the disappearance of Joanne Ratcliffe and Kirsty Gordon. As I said, still not great, still upsetting, still Adelaide bullshit. Not quite what I put you through last week.
No, not quite, but still, like it's frustrating.
Anyway, we just went on an hour of unrelated bullshit that I have to delete, which means it's even closer to my bedtime and I still have to make my lunch and everything before work. And
I need to eat dinner.
Would love to have some... I also need to eat dinner, and I'd also love to have some relaxed time before bed because all I've done this afternoon now is work. So, do you want to do that thing that you're supposed to do?
All right,
I don't want to have to remind you 4 times tonight.
Friends, fuck you, Jeramie. We would like to thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you.
On episode... What fucking episode are we up to?
This is episode 20.
Woo! Alrighty. Okay. Thanks, besties, for joining us for episode 20 of Rent Free in My Head, the podcast. Oh, no, that sounded way too much like wine crime. I'm not going to do that. Nope.
That is how we start, though.
No, I know, but just...
But that's not your end.
No, I know. That's why I was like, what? That's weird. Thank you for joining us for the 20th episode. We love you. We hope that we took up some space in your head and you can't charge us because it's rent-free. We already decided.
Yeah.
Thanks. Love you.
We squat. But also one more episode and our podcast can drink in America. Well, our podcast can drink worldwide.
Oh my God, look at us go. 2 episodes we could do that in Australia
Goals.
because we're not little bitches. And 4 episodes you could do it in Europe, like most of Europe, because they ain't little bitches. But go team. Anyway, but if you want to chuck us a stalk, chuck us a, what's that word called?
Follow?
No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Chuck us a suggestion. Chuck us a compliment. Fucking chuck anything at us. You can contact us on... Well, you can email us at rfimhpodcast@gmail.com, or you can stalk us at rfimhpodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram. And if you want to stalk Jer Bear, you can find him at
Jeramie Gage.
If you want to stalk me, you fucking weirdo. I'm kidding. You can find me at Sarcastically. And we also have Facebook, which is just Rent Free in My Head podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel. We're fucking everywhere.
Which is the same.
Oh, yeah, it's the same. We're stalking you. Jeramie's very consistent. Love him. You can't see it, guys, but I'm making him a heart.
On the note of consistency, for the most part, weekly episodes, but also it's really only us holding us to that schedule. We both have some busy weeks coming up, so we're just going to put this to the side for about a week or 2. We will be back, we promise. It's a planned hiatus. We just need to take a step back and do some life things first. So you won't hear our beautiful voices next week, but we will be back soon.
But like,
And this
just
might be a hot chance for you to like
catch up.
re-listen or catch up or just message us and chat to us IRL.
Like, if you miss us that
not
much.
Not IRL, but like...
If you miss us that much, just like, honestly...
text exchange.
Message us. We're both logged into the Instagram, so it's a bit of a lottery who replies to the message first. If you message it.
I feel like we'll figure out some kind of like sign-off system, like either a J or a K or a knife and a
people and make
magnifying glass. But also I feel like just the way that we speak, they'll pick it up pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, probably. I'm gonna make like a bakery truck and haul buns.
I'm gonna hang up on you.
Wait, did I say that last week? Oh my god. Ready? Love, peace, and chicken grease.
I'm gonna make like a tree and leave.
Goodbye.
Later, skaters.